Hi everyone, I'm Jen and this is my friend Harley 428, and he is one who was one of the first, I don't know, regular Joe kind of people that was on YouTube when I woke to the Mandela effect phenomenon, and I was still in my freak out period. So this dude was a regular Joe, not a polished behind a mic kind of guy, and helped calm me down. And over time, it didn't even take too long. We became friends, and I finally got to meet him here for the first time. So, how am I different besides my onion breath?
How are you different? I believe that when I first seen your video, before I found your video, I myself was freaking out, having a hard time, and someone else reached out and helped me. So when I came across your video, I can't really say exactly what drew me to you, but
You called me weird. I remember.
But
You
yes,
called me
you know,
weird.
you're weird, you were odd, you were unusual, you weren't cut from the same mold as everyone else, and that's what drew me to you. You know, I mean, I liked you because of that, and I seen something in you that you know, it's like you had the ability to have such a free will to really put yourself out there and be who you want to be, regardless of what other people thought.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the potential I believe I seen in you. And because of that, you know, I reached out to you. Not to mention, I also seen in you what I was going through when I first started freaking out. I mean, it took me 3 days, and I was in tears. I thought I was losing my mind. And that's one of the reasons why I made my channel, was to reach out and help, you know, so others, you know, I can find
That's why I made mine, yeah.
you know, and then I just continued doing it, and I met other people, and that's where I met you, you know.
And his wife and my friend are on the balcony, but I love your wife because you told me that when you freaked out, you went and put your head on her lap and just cried, and I just thought how sweet that you could do that.
Yeah, I'd come home from work tired, worn out, dirty as can be, probably smelly, hungry, sitting on the back porch, and she came out and was standing right next to me, and I remember just turning to my right and just sinking my face right in her stomach and just let loose, you know, and she just stood there and just kind of let me do my thing and tried comforting me the best she can. So
yeah, it's really nice to meet her, and plus she looks like a younger version of my Oma, my German grandmother, so when I hug her, I'm secretly hugging my Oma. But yeah, I love her because she was there for you. I was renting a room in a home of the elderly couple, Venezuelans, and they're so polite that you said 3 days. I was either 2 or 3 weeks, wouldn't go out, wouldn't shower, barely ate, just didn't brush my teeth, didn't do anything. I just was freaking out. And I didn't have anyone, so that you had her was huge. And the Venezuelans, they would come to the door, but I think culturally they were just too polite, so they wouldn't knock. But you could see their shadows and their footsteps by the door. So I was so alone. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we met.
Me too.
I'm really glad, and I'm glad we had a chance to actually meet up in person here too. It's
He's
been a
real.
terrific past couple days, you know. And,
yeah.
And like I said earlier today, you know, it's like, sorry if I don't seem as excited as I should, but I know it's one of those things where it's gonna really hit me later on, you know. And it's definitely a weird world we live in, and I'm glad to have friends like you to be there to talk to and help me out when I need help. Because you say how much I helped you, but you don't realize how much you helped me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I've got a few MEs that I talk to on the phone, but there's only about 4 of them I really talk to, and you know, you and Yosef I talk to the most.
Yeah.
So yes, and anytime you call, I'm happy to answer and talk to you, listen to what you got to say, and I may not have answers for you. I can never guarantee that, but I can guarantee an ear to listen, and you know, someone there to try to help understand if possible.
Yeah.
So
just knowing, because we were talking about this with his wife there, so it's okay to share here, is sometimes I feel like it's hard to be alone without a person, you know, not coupled up. just to have someone, but I think there's, as much as she's supportive of you, it's still, she's not an emir.
Mm-mm.
And so that's frustrating. In fact, Denise is out in the porch with her. She's, we're not an intimate couple, but she's my best friend. She's my Laverne to my Shirley, so we're very close, but like, not only is she not really an emir, sometimes she'll hang on for some things, but she, after it's brought up to her attention, but then I see different versions of her. And today's version, she said, well, I know you don't like seafood restaurants, so, and I didn't even hear the rest because we recently had her offering me meat. So we had, again, another conversation how I eat seafood. I don't call myself a vegetarian because I eat fish meat. But now she's thinking I don't like seafood restaurants. So it's like, I'm sharing a hotel room with a stranger, you know? So it gets weird. And so if you're having different versions, that's just my best friend. But if you're having different versions of your wife, that's got to be even stranger, you know?
Yes and no at the same time. Yes and no. I mean, I've noticed slight differences, but the differences I have noticed aren't something that's going to affect the way our relationship works.
Yeah.
You know, actually, one of the main things I've noticed is something I've been praying for forever. Not to be weird, but normally when we go to sleep at night and I cuddle up to her, it's like cuddling up to an ice cube. But for the past year or 2 years now, I cuddle up to her. It's like cuddling up to a heater, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like I'm under the blanket and I'm wanting to warm up and I cuddle up to her. I'm like, oh gosh, no, get away. But nowadays it's like,
You guys are so sweet too, because like just little body motions, like you touch her waist and she'll touch your thigh, and they're cute together. And also they have 4 children. You saw that in the other video. They're all free spirits. So just as a being of humanity, I thank you for raising free spirited children.
they definitely all got their own unique personalities, and I love them all very much. I wish the best for them. I hope I do a good job.
Well,
you know?
They treated me so kindly, and then the way they express themselves is not your typical children, and that's a lovely thing. Like, it brings me to tears. Yeah, brings me to tears because they were huggers. When we said goodbye, they thanked me, so they had their manners. So even though maybe visually they look like crazy animals, you know, because they're such free spirits, but it's they're just beings, you know, forced to wear these human costumes, and then the connection is beyond manners. They're really beings in children's bodies connecting back.
Yes.
And so thank you for letting them, you know, be, because I think most of society and other parents, they worry about, oh, let's, you know, they need to sit still, they need to, and you're just, the others are squashing children. You guys don't squash the children.
No, I try to let my kids be who they're going to be, you know. Yeah. I'm not a very religious person. I really don't care for the Bible myself. I'm not saying I don't believe in a higher power, a God, a source, whatever you want to call it, you know, but I want my kids to choose and have the right to choose. So my mother-in-law, when she goes to church, sometimes she'll take them, you know, and if they want to go, I'll let them go. I mean, how are they going to know what to believe in and what they want to choose if they aren't given the chance to explore all the options? I mean, to a certain degree, obviously. I mean, I try to monitor what they watch on YouTube or what kind of games they play.
But they have stuff to teach us, because you were saying how they have information. You're like, wait, what about the universe? And so you're listening to them.
Yes.
Because I think people come into beings, our spirits come into our bodies already.
And it's not just information like that. There's also a lot of times that I notice my eldest son, David, he'll come out and say something to me with a perspective on something that I hadn't thought about in a certain way, because I have a very innocent way of looking at things. You don't know how many times he's complained about, why do we got to pay rent? Why do we have to pay to live? You know, I mean, like, you're very right. It's a weird concept. We call ourselves the most advanced creature on this planet, but we're the only ones that's got to pay someone else to have a place to
There were
sleep and
we were able to
food.
live here before
You
people
know.
started owning land.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
he'll come out and say weird things to me that just, it's like, it makes me look at it in a different perspective. He's a very intelligent child. He just doesn't apply himself enough yet. I mean, when I say that, I say that because the other kids, when you have multiple kids around each other, they'll pick up on each other's traits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for him to properly branch out and do his own thing when his
gotcha.
brother's following him, his sister's following him, and
Right.
so forth. When they get a little bit older and they're able to go out and do things on their own, then they'll be able to, fully express himself even more when he doesn't have other kids tagging along, his
Right.
brothers and sisters. That's why I say it like that.
Yeah, I thought you were comparing him to other kids.
No.
Spoon-fed information.
No. It's just I know how it is. I had 4 siblings as well, and I was a middle-aged kid and far enough away age-wise that they didn't follow me around.
Yeah.
But my 2 younger sisters were so close. They wore the same clothes, this, that, just like David and Alex. You know what I mean? So I recognize the fact that once they're able to branch off, have their own friends, and that's when they really truly start developing their own personality and pushing themselves to be, what they want to be. Yeah.
So let's see. The Mandela effect. What are the gifts in your mind of having this knowledge and knowing that this is real?
I would have to say I don't really see a gift from the changes themselves, but I see a gift from the Mandela effect in the sense that I feel like my whole life I've been in that lazy river out there, just floating along.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can see I'm in a lazy river and I have the choice to either get out, stay in, or take this branch over here, instead of just going along with the flow. I don't know which direction to go yet, but at least now I know I have options, that this reality is not some set base type of thing. There's more to it than what I thought, and so it's not necessarily the changes, but the reality that woke me up to the fact that this reality is far more than what I had ever comprehended it to be in the past. In other words, I guess it opened my mind to the possibilities. And to me, that's the greatest part of it.
Without saying this person's name, we're just sharing a whole bunch of our theories, and one is that we can co-create or manifest something. So you were talking to your friend, and then the next day or week, whatever, she ended up having it in her car.
Yes, we had bought a vehicle that had heated seats. I never had them before, and I ended up talking to this friend on the phone, and she had her car for a while, but it wasn't until the next conversation that when we talked again a few weeks later, she had told me that she had gotten into her car, and with mine, the heated seat, the button's down on the bottom where you can't even see it, but hers is right on the dash in your face, and she had never seen it before. She claimed it hadn't been there because she had it for years, it was never there, then all of a sudden, boom, it was there.
And she probably, I'm guessing, did she want heated seats when you were talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
So with your heart and mind, this is my theory, with your heart and mind, it can happen. You can end up in a slice of reality. I use like a donut, the toroidal field, and you can end up on another side of your own toroidal field, or like the hand. You're the hand, but you're thinking you're this finger, but you have other fingers to go, and she went to the heated seats.
Right. I mean, you got to be careful with that stuff too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were also talking about my wife during this whole situation that's going on with the world. Trying to be careful what I say, so and everything. But a lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are, don't have money and so forth and everything. But my wife is working extra because she's the manager and she's got to work when people don't show up. So me wishing for more money, I got the more money, but I lost time with my wife too.
Right.
So you got to be very careful on how, what you wish for and how you wish for it, I guess. I don't know exactly how to say that, but yes.
Maybe she can magically get paid twice as much because I was just limiting myself. I was like, well, if the job per hour is twice as much, that means the level of living is twice as much. But I just scripted that, so
Mm-hmm.
makes the second half. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's been you're the first Emmy I've ever met in person.
It's surreal, isn't it? I've met a handful now. It's surreal, and his wife's right behind me, and I know you're probably watching, but I just keep wanting to touch. But I do that with all of them, girls or it doesn't matter. It's just you're the first truly married, partnered up one, so I'm a little like, wait, I can't hug him the way I really want to. Just squeeze him till his eyes pop out, bulge out. They don't have to pop out. All right, I love you all. May you have a super duper day, and find the people that are aligned with you and just love on them, and love the one you're with. Love the one you're with. Love you guys.
Love you. I hope you all have a good night and or day, when or wherever you are.
You said that. You used to say that on your videos. Thank you for saying it here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mwah.